We're back with another scene about things Fortnite took from different games, and man, Fortnite is trapped in 4K with these chickens from Zelda. They're practically indistinguishable, or what might be said about the time that Fortnite added projectiles into their game. I'm almost certain Obligation at Hand had those first cheats alright, perhaps that one doesn't tally. However, we should get into it with the primary thing enlivened from different games. Clearly the recycler. Only a few of days prior, Fortnite's secrecy dropped another weapon into the game with no earlier notice. This new firearm is known as the recycler, and it works in an extremely interesting manner. In case you're coming up short on ammunition, you can utilize the recycler to explode your foes, utilizing basically anything on the island, and I in a real sense mean anything. You could suck up trees, dividers, dumpsters, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. And afterward, whenever you've fulfilled yourself, the firearm reuses the garbage into ammunition. It's a cool method to not stress over ammunition, despite the fact that you must be continually sucking up things that you might have utilized for materials, all things being equal. And the explanation I'm discussing this weapon is on the grounds that it's really taken from another game. Stunning, I know, albeit this one is a perfect little story of vengeance in the event that you've known about imaginative obliteration. It's a massively famous portable counterfeit of Fortnite that has been around for any 2 or 3 years. It essentially has been ripping off Fortnite for all of time everlasting, so Epic chose to get some restitution this time around. The Destructor as a firearm in inventive annihilation, and as you can see, it's in a real sense the recycler. Obviously Fortnite taking thoughts from different games doesn't stop there. Next up we have Season 6, practically okay. A ton of the time Fortnite is motivated by different things. It's typically as a weapon or a skin, or you realize like a whole element like the reboot ban, yet this time around it's the whole season, like everything in it. And obviously I'm discussing the Ebb and Flow Season 6, which is essentially only 4 evenings adaptation of Breath of the Wild. On the off chance that you've played or even taken a gander at interactivity on Breath of the Wild, you presumably know precisely the thing I'm discussing. Yet in the event that you don't, all separate it. First of all, we have the chickens in Fortnite, and these are quite possibly the most conspicuous takes from Zelda, as chickens have been a running gag in that arrangement for quite a while. And in Breath of the Wild, you could really get chickens over your head and use them to skim around. Sounds somewhat natural. That is on the grounds that Fortnite allows you to do precisely the same thing, even to the purpose of holding it over your head. At that point we have the tower in the guide. This is very much like the pinnacles from Breath of the Wild, albeit this is all the more a gesture to them than taken straightforwardly from the game. We additionally have untamed life in Season 6, like wolves and hogs, the two of which can assault you in Breath of the Wild, and it gets significantly more obtrusive in the event that you move to the new highlights in the season. For instance, rather than sharpshooters, the basic biome has given the island bows. There are a huge load of various sorts of bows with novel qualities and shortcomings, which is likewise a tremendous piece of Breath of the Wild's ongoing interaction. Also, the mechanical parts around the island you could use to make these bows, they bear a little likeness to the old parts from Zelda. Pretty insane to take a gander at, with the exception of it gets considerably more clear when you take a gander at number 8, which are duplicated skins. This season has brought a couple of skins into both the Fight Pass and Thing Shop, which are scarily like different games. Since we were simply discussing Breath of the Wild, we need to begin with Toronto from the Fight Pass. In Breath of the Wild you could do a hallowed place journey to track down a bunch of protection called the Brute Shield. Well, glance at this defensive layer and you could as of now tell that Toronto from the Fight Pass has a lovely comparative outfit. This is by all accounts something beyond a happenstance. I mean, the similarity is striking, and assuming you're not persuaded, simply go to the most recent NPC on the guide, Webster. This is a pristine skin that was added for Spring Breakout, and keeping in mind that he appears as though a wonderful, extraordinary skin, simply consider it. Where have we seen a rotting robot duck before who looks threatening? Yes, Chica from 5 Evenings at Freddy's. Currently I gotta let it out's not a total copycat, but rather you could tell where the impact came from it in the event that you put them one next to the other. Yet proceeding onward, we have number 7, which are bounties and money. On the off chance that you recall probably the greatest component of Season 5, no, it wasn't sand burrowing, it was really bounties and gold. I know at this point it seems like they've been in the game always, yet they were just added last season, with the exception of they were additionally taken directly from another game. When Combat Area previously came out, Activision added cash in the game that permitted you to purchase things around the guide, and it truly assisted with lessening RNG, and it would appear that Epic Games needed to duplicate the schoolwork and switch things up a piece since gold was included Season 5. This allows us to purchase stuff from NPCs, for example, challenges, firearms in any event. updating our things, and afterward they made it a stride further. Sure, gold is certainly not an immediate sham, however bounties were added to combat area, and it let you take out a particular player for reward money and remunerates. Thus what did Epic add close by gold? Obviously bounties. You acquire gold from chests, yet additionally by finishing bounties around the Fortnite island, and in the event that you take out the player that Fortnite gives you get gold, regardless of whether another person outsmarts you. Quite magnificent, regardless of whether it was somewhat propelled by combat area. And it turns out COD isn't the solitary mainstream game that Fortnite's ripped off. In light of the fact that we have number 6, which is Minecraft. With Minecraft returning into prevalence, we thought it'd be fascinating to look at both that game and Fortnite on the grounds that, well, Epic has a long history of duplicating Minecraft, even from the very beginning of Fight Royale. Alright, for instance, in a real sense the idea of gathering things like trees and shakes for materials to construct is Minecraft resembles Center Repairman, despite the fact that I will let it out's been and saved the world for quite a while. Yet notwithstanding that we have the making framework which could be motivated by Minecraft, that is on the off chance that you overlook tameable wolves and even make a mode. All in all, yet I think the most clear counterfeit of Minecraft is the whole idea of Fight Royale. Now we realize Epic just did it on account of G, yet Fight Royale itself is from a Japanese film, and Minecraft's yearning games is perhaps the most celebrated and clear emphasis of it in computer games. To be straightforward, I sort of feel like Bar G was enlivened by H1Z1, which was roused by Minecraft Hunger Games. Well, at any rate, for a more clear sham, we have number 5, which is the government operative inside LTM. As of late, Epic has been highlighting a huge load of local area-made inventive islands as official Fortnite LTMS, and keeping in mind that it's stunning for sharing substance. Quite possibly the most famous and longest running of these LTMS was that of Spy. Inside this was a completely fledged LTM that Epic even added difficulties and awards for. So in spite of this being made by innovative developers, this was completely embraced by Epic. So I suppose I'm checking it. Essentially the entire mode is an undeniable duplicate of Among Us made to attempt to skip off of its prominence, and it worked. The mode has 10 players, 2 professional killers, 8 specialists, and it in a real sense worked very much like Among Us. The specialists had errands they needed to finish to win, and there were casting a ballot adjusts too, as the professional killers who could damage and execute different specialists. I mean, it couldn't get any more clear than this. Well, really it can, on the grounds that there's still some madly clear things Fortnite has taken from different games, and sure, you watch until the end, it gets awful. Yet now we've gotta talk about shows. Fortnite's shows have probably the most progressive highlights in gaming over the most recent couple of years. Epic has truly carried virtual shows to the gaming business, and now a huge load of games have been attempting to duplicate this thought, in spite of the fact that while Epic is unmistakably the most flawlessly awesome at doing these shows, they weren't actually the first in quite a while. Before Fight Royale, virtual shows were not mainstream or even distantly thought about, but rather it occurred back in 2016. Aluna George facilitated a Minecraft show, thus did Monstercat with Beast Good Cause right back in 2013. Also, in the event that you need to return it significantly further to 2006, and Craftsman had a virtual show in Second Life. Regardless of this, however, I figure we could all concur that Fortnite does it best. Yet who knows, perhaps I gotta make a video calling out Roblox on account of the Lil Greenery X show. Presumably not. However, in any case, we should proceed onward to number 3, which is Peak Legends. So we referenced in our last video that Fortnite has taken things from Summit before, like the reboot fans, yet it's been far more than that as well. While the reboot vans were a gigantic and clear remove from the respawn guides from Zenith, Epic has still been duplicating the game. And recollect that we got vaults in Section 2 Season 2, and this was in fact taken from Pinnacle Legends 2. Presently, in any event, Fortnite kept it quite new with the NPC supervisors rather than simply plunder drones, regardless of whether plunder drones were in fact back in Fortnite in Season 6, so something more taken, and we haven't even referenced the pinging framework. Whenever Summit was known for its astounding pinging situation, Epic emptied it directly over into Fortnite, despite the fact that, to be straightforward, you can't be irritated about this since it has improved the game a ton. Thus is number 2, which are radio broadcasts. Perhaps the best thing Epic has at any point added to vehicles in Fortnite has been the radio broadcasts. In the event that you jump into a vehicle right now, you can switch between radio broadcasts that really play copyright of music, and there's a crazy measure of Craftsman and famous melodies on there. in spite of the fact that we as a whole realize that this thought came directly from Great Burglary Auto. GTA has been known for its radio broadcasts for quite a long time, and it's one of the solitary different games that have something like this, and with more stations and tunes getting added constantly for the two games, it's an undeniable examination. And not long before we get to our main spot, obviously we have our fair notice, which is old stuff duplicated from different games. Alright, there are far more taken things that essentially made Fortnite what it is today. However, we don't have the opportunity to fit them all on a rundown, so we're simply going to address them in this noteworthy notice. First of all, we have supply drops. They've been in Fortnite for quite a while now, since the time Fight Royale first came out, yet clearly Epic took these alongside the entire thought for a Fight Royale mode from PUBG. Supply drops are quite wanted and have an entire plane flying over the guide for it. When Fortnite added theirs, it's not as conspicuous, but rather they're still too cool to discover. Then we have the actual Tempest. Obviously the various sorts of Tempests we've gotten throughout the years in Fortnite have been a blend of components for both H1Z1 and PUBG, and ultimately one of Fortnite's most game-changing highlights is the Fight Pass. On account of Fortnite, pretty much every game on planet Earth has dumped plunder boxes and rather received a Fight Pass. Turns out it really was an Epic's thought. However, the Fight Pass was created when it was added to Dota 2 back in 2013, yet now at last the thing you've all been sitting tight for. Our number one spot, weapon connections. There are an outright ton of games in the market, right, since let you modify your weapons and update them, yet in the event that we need to go into particulars, we should take a gander at Fortnite's wraps. Epic added wraps late into Section 1, yet they were in no way, shape or form their own thought. Wraps have been mainstream in a huge load of games, most prominently Obligation at Hand and H1Z1, and now we realize that Epic are intending to add weapon customization later on. Fundamentally soon we'll have the option to really add connections and more to our weapons, and well, that is really suggestive of combat area and actually some other game ever. I realize we're getting a little nitpicky. I need an additional spot. Okay, yet that is it for our Taken Things video, and by we're not saying that Epic aren't right for taking or attempting to be haters, in light of the fact that not a solitary mainstream game out there hasn't ripped off another person's element yet. Hello, it's sort of cool to know where Epic gets their motivation from. Thanks such a huge amount for watching.